Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. Let me get a couple things figured out. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Dashka from Montreal. If this is your first time with me, my name is Jacqui Mancuso. I am an astrologer joining you guys from the Illinois suburbs. Chicago suburbs. Today we're here to talk about the upcoming week and a few days of astrology. And then we're going to pull some oracle cards to see how we can best utilize the upcoming energies. Lisa says, hi everyone. I don't know why, but I feel like today is going to be an extra special session. Love to all. Well, let's make it happen, Lisa. This is a collaborative effort, right? Oh, here comes Piston. What up, Piston? Hi, Bobo. He wants to make today extra special. Hello, April. Greetings, Christine. With all the fall colors. Hi, Becky. Good morning, Trina. I've been listening to your prosperity affirmations daily. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for utilizing those. Good evening, Joe, with all the fire. Andrea or Andrea, good morning. Greetings, Lori. Lisa, there you go. It happened already with Piston coming to say hi. Yes, extra special. Piston loves saying hi. You want to say hi again? Oh, he's such a good boy. He's 5. He's a husky, German Shepherd, Lab, Great Pyrenees, Chow. He got a bath yesterday. It was the last warmish day that we're gonna have in this part of the country. So he got a bath. Anyway, today we're gonna talk about the whole week of astrology. Piston, everyone loves you. Everyone's saying hi to you. Good. We're gonna talk about the whole week of astrology from today, October 14th, through next Tuesday, the 22nd. Because the 23rd is the next time that I'll be here on Insight Timer talking astrology. If you are one of my semi-regulars, I've been talking astrology every time I come on Insight Timer, but I'm trying this new thing where I do the full week on Wednesday, except I'm traveling this week, so we're doing it on Monday. But I'm trying to talk a full week astrology on Wednesday and then do just card pulls on Monday, Friday. So we're going to try it for about a week and we'll see how it goes. A week. We're going to try it for about a month and see how it goes. Trina says I'm working on being a regular. No pressure. Andrea, first time here. Beautiful. Well, thanks for joining. Let's dive into the astrology because we have quite a bit to talk about before we get into the cards. So get your pens out. There's quite a bit happening over this next week. We are going to talk about the Aries Full Moon. We're going to talk about Venus entering Sagittarius and the Sun entering Scorpio, which brings us into Scorpio season. Just double checking all the various recordings I have going on. Sorry guys, I got a lot going on. All right, so last Wednesday, rolling all over my blanket. Last Wednesday, we talked about Jupiter stationing retrograde, talked about Pluto stationing direct, and Mercury entering Scorpio. So if you missed last week's astrology and you want to catch up, search my name on YouTube to watch that replay. However, as we lead up to this Thursday's full moon in Aries, we have a handful of planetary aspects that will set the stage for Thursday's main event. So today, on October 14th, we have the Sun exactly squaring Mars. The Sun is at 21 Libra, Mars is at 21 Cancer. The Sun in Libra is shining a light on how we relate to others, how we keep things fair and balanced. Mars in Cancer is helping us find our motivation through our emotions and intuition. And when these two square up, it can cause some friction. specifically related to how your emotions are driving your relationships. Mars in Cancer runs on an emotional battery. Our ambition and willpower these days is going to be closely linked to our emotional state. And within the days surrounding this aspect, our emotional state can cause some friction with the relationships in our lives. Our emotional state can cause some friction within any legal matters because Libra is related to the law. And our emotional state can cause friction between how balanced you feel within yourself. So my advice for the next couple days is to take a beat, take a breath, and work with your emotions internally for a few days before you start projecting them onto people and situations around you. Venus is also making a couple of aspects before our full moon on Thursday. Today, Venus in Scorpio is forming an exact opposition to Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Venus in Scorpio is here to help us find the value in our depth. So while Mars and the Sun are squaring off, Venus in Scorpio is like, yes, let's go there, dive into yourself. Venus in Scorpio is exactly opposite from Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Both today, these guys are sitting at 26 degrees of their signs. Uranus began his retrograde through Taurus on September 1st. And when I talked about that on Insight Timer, I talked about how we might be able to find how we are the resource, how it's our out-of-the-box qualities, the things that make us unique, and how these things are the qualities that make us so valuable as individual human beings. So now, Uranus retrograde in Taurus, figuring out how we are the value, opposing Venus in Scorpio, who wants to dig down. These two planets opposing each other, this is what I'm seeing. And if you're new to me, you get to learn how I use astrology like a storybook. I think it's fun. So I see Uranus as this mad scientist. He's way too intelligent for his own good, and he's looking for something new. He's onto something. He's looking within your self-worth to help you uncover the missing puzzle piece that's going to solve it all. And here struts in Venus in Scorpio. She's very mysterious. She's very sensual. She's wearing that little tight black dress with them sexy heels. And how I'm seeing this opposition is that Venus steps into a place that blocks the spotlight that Uranus was using to investigate your self-worth. And Venus, with her sensual self, encourages Uranus to use his Taurus senses. Taurus is the sign that rules the senses of the body. And Venus says, why don't you look in the darkness? Why don't you reflect on your self-worth in the darkness? And this sort of like excites Uranus. He's been looking for new, unconventional ways to do his research. And here's Venus in Scorpio offering the suggestion to just turn off the light. So as Uranus completes his retrograde, which lasts until the end of January, this opposition today may leave Uranus and Taurus a little more interested in looking into your shadow to find the hidden gems, so that you can find how you are the value, you are the resource. I saw Melinda popped in and said hello. Lisa says, love your stories. I'm visual. I appreciate it. They're fun. They come to me when I'm making my notes, and it's just like a fun playbook way to describe what's going on. So Venus in Scorpio is almost like projecting the shadow onto Uranus in Taurus. And specifically as we enter Scorpio season, which we're going to be starting next Tuesday, Since we are starting Scorpio season, I would not be surprised if shadow work is extra beneficial. On top of our heavy retrograde season right now, lots of planets are moving in reverse direction, asking you to reflect on yourself. After Venus takes one more step into 27 degrees of Scorpio, she's going to form an exact trine with Neptune retrograde in Pisces. This happens tomorrow, Tuesday the 15th. So now, this dark, mysterious lady comes into a beneficial aspect with Neptune retrograde in Pisces, who from Neptune, I'm just feeling like he's happier than a clam right now. I see Neptune floating in the sea of the subconscious, and he's got this refreshing drink in his hand with a little umbrella. And Neptune says, just let it go. Look how freeing it is when you just let it go. And the message that I'm feeling here with this aspect is that Neptune retrograde in Pisces is helping Venus make sense of the things that she's finding in the shadows. Venus in Scorpio loves diving deep and uncovering hidden things. But sometimes when we find these deep, mysterious things, we can become attached to the shadows and we can begin to identify with them. So here's Neptune trining Venus, and I feel like Neptune's message is to throw that shadow into the water. This doesn't negate all of the lessons that you've learned from this difficult time or all the growth that you've accomplished because of this part of yourself. Neptune is preaching full acceptance through surrender. He's saying, add it to the pile. And Neptune is floating on this ocean of watery emotions. Neptune is showing Venus how it's both the shadows that dance with the light that cause the ocean to sparkle. This is how our shadows create beauty. So I see Neptune calling over to Venus, let it go. It's already done its job. Just float. Use that experience to carry you forward. That doesn't define who you are. It doesn't set up your future patterns. Just let it go. Move on. I hope that's making sense, because that visual was pretty clear to me as well. Neptune just chilling in his big ocean of the collective consciousness. Then, on Thursday the 17th, we have our full moon in Aries. The full moon peaks at 24 degrees of Aries, exactly at 6:27 a.m. Central Time. So convert to your time zone if you're not in Central Time. This full moon is a time to end a cycle of a part of our personality. Ending a cycle about a way that we feel about ourselves, how we sense ourselves. This full moon is happening just 3 degrees away from Chiron, the wounded healer. And this is asking us to feel more acceptance for the wounded parts of ourselves. To close the book on the story about how broken we are. This full moon also happens with a cardinal grand cross. So we have planets in each of the 4 cardinal signs. The cardinal signs are the ones that start the seasons. They get the ball rolling. They get things started. And a grand cross means that all 4 planets are either in squares or oppositions with each other, and this causes a shit ton of tension. So a cardinal grand cross at this full moon feeds us with tension to begin, pressure to take the leap. So while this is a full moon and full moons represent endings, this feels like a pretty big turning point in regards to the way that you view yourself. A turning point in who you deeply think that you are. So for the sake of time, because we're talking about a whole week of astrology, that's all I have to say about the full moon. But if you want more information, I have a 20-minute video available on my Patreon page that dives super deep into this upcoming lunar event. You can find the link in my Insight Timer teacher bio for that guy. After the full moon, but still on Thursday the 17th, Venus will walk into Sagittarius. And Venus will stay in Sagittarius until November 12th. Have you been writing down all of these dates in degrees? It's a lot. I'm throwing a lot at you guys. I'm not used to this. It's a lot. Venus in Sagittarius. Venus is the planet that helps us see the value in things. Venus helps us find resources through harmonizing various aspects, and she helps us highlight the beauty in things. Venus in Sagittarius is the sign of the wanderer, the explorer, the philosopher. Venus is going to help us find the value in expansion. How to use travel, internal travel and external travel, as a resource. Venus in Sagittarius, she's there for about a month. October 17th until November 12th. I'll say that again. Venus in Sag is going to help us learn how to harmonize the vastness of what we're about to find over that month. Sagittarius is linked to truth, natural law, universal truth, and Venus may help us link deeper into the universal truths that govern our existence. Undeniable facts that you can't change with emotions and opinions. I love it. Trina saying, yes, traveling to the meridian, October 29th through November 12th. That's awesome. That's a perfect time to value travel, Venus in Sagittarius. As I was making my notes, I didn't even realize this when I planned my trip. I'm leaving on Wednesday, and I'm going to be gone until about November 12th or 13th. So I will be valuing my travel throughout this whole Venus and Sag also. I think it's great. Throughout her transit through Sagittarius, Venus will have a harmonious trine to Chiron in Aries. She'll have a couple sticky squares with Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And Venus and Sag will have an opposition to Jupiter in Gemini. That opposition happens on November 3rd. We'll talk about it when we get closer, but actually this is what I'll be talking about next week. Next Wednesday, I'm going to talk about the next 3 weeks of astrology, so be sure to be with us next Wednesday. On November 3rd, I'll go more into detail next week, but Venus in Sag is going to oppose Jupiter in Gemini. This could be a big day of unveiling big truths, because Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter's the ruler of Sagittarius. So this opposition feels a little bit bigger to me. I mentioned earlier that Libra is linked with the law. Well, Sagittarius and Jupiter are as well. And this is the same day, November 3rd, that we're going to have our first exact Mars-Pluto opposition. If you guys have taken my Astrology 101 course, or if you've been hanging out with me long enough where you pick up on the energies of the planets, man, Mars, anger, Pluto, destruction, opposition. November 3rd is going to be a heavy day. I don't want to go down that path now, but man, that'll be an exciting time. Exciting. I digress. We'll talk about all that next week. Let's move on to discuss Tuesday, October 22nd. Oh my gosh. Tuesday, October 22nd. Next Tuesday. The Sun squares Pluto, Mercury trines Saturn, and then the Sun moves into Scorpio. Let's break it all down. So before the Sun leaves Libra, while he sits at 29 degrees of Libra, he'll form an exact square to Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And feeling the energy of two sun squares in a week. Remember, today we have the sun square Mars. Next Tuesday we have the sun square Pluto. To me, this feels like something keeps trying to dim your light. Like there's some sort of force that's trying to keep you small. But squares are here to create tension in order for us to get so uncomfortable that we have to grow. So in the long run, this is good for us. The sun squaring Pluto next Tuesday can feel like there's a boundary, Pluto Capricorn, there's a boundary that's dimming our light. Like there is some sort of rule. This could be a spoken rule or an unspoken rule. This is just how we act. It feels like there's some sort of rule that's affecting our own internal balance. And honestly, guys, next Tuesday, this feels like a building of an energy towards realizing how controlling a relationship can be. Finally being able to make sense of the control that is being placed onto your light, be it intentional or unintentional. And this feels like there may be someone in your life that you've been excusing their behavior because of how accommodating and understanding you are. Or maybe you haven't yet realized how much of a grip some person may have on your ability to create your own inner harmony. But this Sun-Pluto square, it's Libra and Capricorn. Capricorn is about rules and boundaries. Libra is about relationships. Squares are tension. It's the power planet with the rules squaring your light in your relationships. So this feels like some of us are going to get to a place where enough is enough. Especially coming off of that Aries full moon, where we let go of a part of our sap story and we're feeling the pressure to take the first step. This square, Elisa, is on the 22nd, next Tuesday. This square feels like pressure to step into liberation, to free yourself from the things that are binding your ability to self-harmonize. It's like you finally get to that place of inner peace and then, ooh, I gotta follow this rule. Ooh, I can't act like that around this person. Ooh, I gotta change the way that I am. Fudge that. Also on Tuesday the 22nd, Mercury in Scorpio forms a trine to Saturn retrograde in Pisces. These guys will be at 13 degrees of their signs. Mercury in Scorpio plays the role of our investigative mind. He's asking all the questions. He's looking under every rock, and he's thirsty to get to the bottom of everything. And now he's forming a harmonious trine with Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Saturn's almost done with his retrograde. He ends his retrograde on November 16th. So he has like 3 weeks left of his retrograde that began, I believe, in May. Let me look. Saturn retrograde started at the end of June, but still, he's almost done with his retrograde. So Saturn has gained quite a bit of wisdom here. Saturn, it's the same day. Sun-Pluto square, same day as Mercury-Saturn trine. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, where Pluto is sitting in this square, on the same day that Pluto squares the sun. So I'm feeling that this Saturn-Mercury trine is playing with the same energy, maybe even the same relationship, the same situation as this Sun-Pluto square, where you feel controlled. Saturn represents our responsibilities. Saturn is our personal, inner, disciplinary parent. He's forming a trine to the planet of our mind, our thoughts. To me, this feels like Saturn says, yes, it's absolutely time to let go. Saturn is in Pisces. Pisces is surrender. So Saturn is sending information to Mercury and Scorpio. Mercury needs the evidence. The mind, Mercury and Scorpio, needs the proof to get on board with this whole thing. Mercury and Scorpio needs the facts. He needs to uncover some hidden truths, some hidden aspects of the situation. So for your own benefit, Saturn may make something known around this time, October 22nd. He might show you something that you didn't know before that causes you to have the facts you need in order to move forward in the way that you're meant to. All for your highest good. And on the same day, the 22nd, that's the last thing we're going to talk about today, I promise. The sun then moves into Scorpio, beginning our Scorpio season. Scorpio season this year lasts from October 22nd through November 21st. Scorpio is our fixed water sign. Scorpio is the sign of mystery, darkness, what's hidden. Scorpio is the sign of death and rebirth, transformation, transmutation. So just as I described earlier, Venus in Scorpio, when she's opposing Uranus, Venus in Scorpio advised Uranus to work in the dark. That's the beauty of Scorpio season. It's time to intentionally dive into the things that aren't serving us on a surface level. The things that are minor annoyances in your day-to-day life, Scorpio season wants you to shine a light on what's hidden underneath it all. What is living within you that's causing you to be annoyed? What are some of your unhealed triggers that are scratching at you every time your partner leaves dirty dishes in the sink? It's not always their fault. It's usually not. You have the power to move past the upsets in your life. And Scorpio season asks you to have the courage to dive, to sit with the uncomfortable feelings. Fixed water. Sit with it. In fact, go deeper. Dive underneath the uncomfortable feeling. Because I promise you guys, the more you sit with it, the less you try to brush it off, the less you try to rush through it and stop feeling it or move away from it, the more beauty you'll find. The more unconditional love, unconditional acceptance you'll find. Depth is beauty. So to recap this upcoming week and a half, this week can trigger some relationship matters that are calling you to dive deeper into yourself. This will help you let go of the stories that bind you, and this will help you let go of old self-perceptions that are holding you back from expansion. So what an exciting upcoming week. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little bit of a masochist for life lessons. That's one of my new favorite ways to describe myself. I think it's funny. Yeah, give me that lesson. That was great. All right, so we're going to use two different oracle decks to ask two different questions. I was first drawn to this mystical shaman oracle. And I want to use this deck to ask which parts of our shadow are ready to be examined. Which parts of our shadow are ready to be examined? We're upcoming on Scorpio season. This Aries full moon is letting go of a way that you sense yourself. So let's dive into our shadow. Which parts are ready to be examined? So feel free to send your energy into this deck. We're going to pull 3 cards for all of us. This is a group reading. And connect with your shadow. Connect with your shadow and ask what part wants to be examined. Let's make friends with each other. Let's befriend each other. If you guys have been enjoying this session so far, if you'd like to offer an exchange of energy, in the form of a donation. They're always appreciated. I really enjoy sharing this astrology knowledge with you guys. When I shuffle these cards, I'm going to let 3 cards fall out for us. And these are 3 parts of all of our shadows that are ready to be examined. But I'm going to give you an opportunity to play with your intuition. Sweet. I'm going to give you an opportunity to play with your intuition. I'm going to show you the backs of the 3 cards. So the image is going to look the same, but just notice if any of the cards feel different from the other. That might be the part of your shadow that's like screaming at you to look at it. If nothing feels different, your intuition is not broken, okay guys? It just means that the whole reading holds an equal amount of importance for you. So, the 3 cards flew out of the deck. I'll show you the backs, and then let us all know in the chat which cards are resonating most strongly with you. Which parts of our shadow are asking to be examined. Here is the back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. And the back of card number 3. Let us know in the chat which cards are resonating most strongly with you, and I'll show them one more time just in case which parts of our shadow are ready to be examined. One more time, the back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. And the back of card number 3. Let's see. Mary Alice 1 and 3, Nicole 1 and 2, Kelly 2, Nancy 1 and 3, Blanca 3, Trina all 3, April 1 and 2. Good morning, Pam, just waking up in Portland. Nicole 2, then 1, Kirby 1, Pam 3. Lisa, itchy head on 1, tickly throat on 3. Interesting. Feels like, that feels like chakra stuff to me. What part of your head was itchy on 1? Is that crown chakra? Maybe card 3 is about throat chakra expression. Deborah 2 and 3, Kat all, April 3, Alice all 3, Lori 1, Christine all 3, Elisa 1 and 3, Joe 1, April, thank you kindly for your donation. Andrea's working with all of them. Andrew working with 3, Christine working with 3. Love it. Let's see which parts of our shadow are ready to be examined. Card number 1 is card number 1, and the message is the Ancient Ones. The Ancient Ones are the shamans of old who defeated death and escaped from the tyranny of time. Sorry, that was a piston here. The Ancient Ones once walked the earth like us in flesh and bone. Now they reside in infinity and can counsel us after we say yes to our calling. They are available to help us attain our full realization. The Ancient Ones are inviting you to reach to the future to help birth a new destiny for the earth. Go ahead. Find out who you are becoming 10,000 years from now. If you accept the invitation, great power and blessings will come your way and allow you to craft a new destiny for yourself. Do not hesitate to bite off more than you can chew, because you have unlimited spiritual resources available right now. The Ancient Ones beseech you to examine your attitudes and actions, and be sure that they are of the highest integrity. Not forgiving an ancestor or yourself is keeping you from the freedom you seek. Remember, this is no longer your karma. You can break the chains that once bound you to the family drama and be free of your generational curses. Forgive the ones you need to release. Honor your biological ancestors by lighting a candle to them tonight. So which part of your shadow is ready to be examined? Your generational stuff. The family patterns that you notice. Maybe there's a little bit of resentment that you haven't been able to work through yet. Maybe there's a little bit of shame tied to where you came from that you haven't worked through yet. There is some sort of pattern that you notice that you know you don't want to repeat. And I'm feeling this, like there needs to be a little bit more acceptance with that thing that you don't want to repeat. You've clearly identified that you don't want to follow the same path. Great. Good for you. Okay? Thank you for not following the path. Let's get rid of the shame that you project onto the people who have followed that pattern. Let's work on accepting a little bit and realizing that they were doing the best they could with what they had. Sorry that it brought you to the family pattern that you were born into, but that's what served them. You don't need to hold hatred or resentment towards that. Actually, the less hatred and resentment you hold towards that, the less likely it is that you're going to repeat it. I don't have kids, but I know that many people don't want to be anything like their parents. They don't want to repeat anything. And then eventually you're parenting and you're like, man, I am my mom. I am exactly like this, right? This is the same with these family patterns that you have observed that you don't want to repeat. If you hold anger and resentment towards it, you're giving it energy. So you're going to repeat it because where attention goes, energy flows. So if you're focusing on all these things that you hate, it's going to get bigger. So accept, honor your ancestors, the ones that created this family pattern that you're not a fan of, and accept that you were born to change the pattern. You were born to break the pattern. I think that's pretty cool. Lisa says, this card, I've just been looking at my ancestry and lots has been coming up. What kind of stuff have you been uncovering? What kind of difficult choices do you think your ancestors had to make because of the situation that they were handed? Interesting to think about. Trina's mind is triple blown with like 700%. Card number 2, which parts of our shadow are also asking to be examined? Which parts are ready to be examined? Actually, I'm going to say one more thing about that Ancient Ones cards. Mars in Cancer. So today we have Mars squaring the Sun, and then also at the full moon, I didn't really talk about how important Mars's role is. Like I said, I have that deeper dive on Patreon. Mars in Cancer. Cancer is the sign of your origin, your family of origin, your ancestors, where you come from, your home. There is a lot. Mars in Cancer wants us to work with this. And Mars is going to start retrograding through Cancer. Mars, I think, is going to hang out in Cancer through like April. So buckle up for ancestral stuff. It's coming. It's time. Card number 2, the other part of our aspect, the other aspect of our shadow that's ready to be examined. This brings us card number 63, the wind. The symbol of the wind represents the element of air. It rules communication, thought, song, and inspired ideas. It also signifies change with qualities of both negative and positive. The wind blows from each of the 4 directions, and there are different qualities bestowed by each. South, carrying a new sense of trust, helping you gently begin to discard habits and parts of you that are no longer needed. West, calling you to more introspection, to a willingness to make final decisions, to let go of attachment and ego desires. North, moving to bring you wisdom and strength. East, carrying clarity of vision and purpose. Whichever way the wind is blowing for you, the message, which the wind whispers or shouts, is a challenge. It may take courage at first to turn and face the wind, but you will find exultation in moving toward it and receiving its lessons. When the spirit of wind comes calling, it's a sign of change. Perhaps you need to change your mind about something. Perhaps an old way of doing things has become automatic. And now that you've gained greater clarity, you can make a new choice. Regardless of what the change is, you can expect to be understood and to have clear communication with others at this time. Ideas are solid, and the shift that is being called for is in the highest good of all. When the wind comes as medicine, you're being invited to recognize the value of chaos. Windstorms provide necessary chaos to clear the air and spread seeds so plants and trees can take root in new fields. Right now, it may seem as if your world has been turned upside down, but this is a temporary storm that will blow over. Perhaps communication has broken down between you and another, or your many to-do lists are overwhelming you. The medicine is to simplify, slow down, course correct if you need to, and wait out the storm to clean things up. Just know that all storms have great value if, oh my gosh, sorry, my brain. Just know that all storms have great value if you can remain neutral during their course. Greater clarity and good things will come from it all. Remember, this too shall pass. Which part of our shadows are ready to be examined? The chaotic part of us that we feel like doesn't have space. The chaotic part of us that we feel like has wreaked havoc on our lives. This may have been a time where you spiraled. Have you been in an emotional spiral and then you made some kind of not so fun choices that you feel like kind of effed it all up? That was you creating a windstorm to clear out the things that weren't serving you and to spread them, right? Like the wind spreads the seeds. That was you spreading whatever you destroyed in your life during that time. That was just letting it go be planted where it's meant to be planted. If you had a time of emotional spiral and you chaotically threw people out of your life, maybe you threw them into the field of people that they needed to be around. Maybe you pushed them into their greatest community that they couldn't have gotten from you. You know what I'm saying? The part of our shadow that's ready to be examined is the chaotic feminine. Yeah, Alice, feminine energy means embrace the chaos. We do live in a pretty masculine society. The way that everything, and I'm not trying to be sexist, I'm not trying to be ultra feminist here, like everything has its importance, but we do live in a very structured, boundary governed society. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of cages, there's a lot of expectations. That's masculine container energy. I feel like we can feel shame about being spontaneous, about being chaotic, because we don't fit into the mold. So the part of your shadow that's asking to be examined is the part of yourself that may have stirred some shit up in the past and you didn't mean to. And you know, when you stir stuff up and the people around you aren't ready for it, they're going to shame you. They're going to tell you that it's all your fault that my life went to shit. It's your fault because you were the one that threw the tornado. Sorry, I was in a moment of expression. I needed to move things around. I needed to be chaotic. And you know what? When you're chaotic, I'm going to try my best to understand. Christine and Loretta, thank you guys so much for your donations. I appreciate you. April says, synchronicity, angel number meaning of 63. Releasing situations that are draining will make room for miracles and expansion. Take time to release the old. Let the wind come and move it all around. Love it. April says, healing the mother wounds to elevate divine feminine. Oh my gosh! Your maternal line. the first card. Cancer, house 4. I relate that to the mother. Love it. Andrea asked, I was talking about Mars and Cancer. Does that influence a Cancer more? At some point, Mars will move over where the sun was when you were born, so you might feel energized to shine in a different way. Every aspect influences everybody in a different way. It's so complicated, but that's what I could say about your sun being in Cancer. Mimi says, I chose this card. The message resonates a lot. Interesting. Yeah, when I feel like that card, card number 2, the part of our shadow, when was the time that you couldn't keep it together? When was the time that you had to lash out? It's okay. It's okay. I have a specific memory coming to mind. You didn't know what else to do. You were so that you had to break out. Card number 3. Which last part of our shadow is ready to be examined? Card number 3 is card number 22, and the message is the ghost dance. April, the number for card number 1 was 1. So we have card 1, card 63, card 22. The ghost dance of the American Plains Indians united the spirits of the living with those of the ancestors to bring peace to the world. When the ancestors were honored, they bring harmony to us. When we hold them responsible for all that is wrong with us today, they haunt us. Honor the spirits of the ancestors and receive their lessons and gifts. This includes honoring your own past lives. Yeah, Christine and Lisa, my mind is blown as well. The ancestors have a message of healing and a powerful medicine to offer you. Create a sacred moment at your altar, light a candle to them, and let their wisdom infuse you. At this stage in your life, you are done repeating their tragic stories. Step into the abundance that is offered to you, receive the gifts of those that have come before you, and write a new story for your life. If you are trapped in a vicious cycle of nostalgia, mourning a lost youth, or opportunities missed, it is time to make an altar for the ancestors. Collect a few photos, light some incense, offer sage, and open the windows of your house to release them to their destiny and to the wind. I'm not making that up, it's in the book. Be wary of being snared in a relationship with someone from a past lifetime, as the people we loved or hurt have a way of reappearing in our lives. There is no learning for you there anymore. This card said a lot, and it related all of them. So at first I was wondering if maybe it is time for us to examine the shadow part of us that's holding resentment towards our ancestors who may have acted chaotically. Like maybe we're not happy with the radical thing that our ancestors had to do that kind of effed up the whole family, you know? That's where I was going with this. But then it started talking about being able to step into the abundance and the gifts that have been created because of your ancestors. So the part of your shadow would be that like, oh man, I come from this family history. Oh my gosh, my ancestors had to suffer so much, so now I have to suffer for them. They already suffered. They already did it, and they did it for you. So stop holding their guilt and just enjoy this beautiful life that you've created, that they've created for you. Honor them in that way. My God, stop crying about it. Sorry, that's coming out real passionately. They suffered and they sacrificed so that you could have a wonderful life. Stop bringing up all of the suffering that they've already done. It happened. It happened, and they want you to have a beautiful life. Imagine if your great-great-grandchildren were like, oh my gosh, when my mom was married to that man, oh, oh, I can't live a happy life because of all the trauma that she went through. You'd be like, shut up. Like, go live. I did that so that you can have a better life. Stop doing that. I think that's so funny. And then it also says to release them to their destiny and to the wind. So maybe it is time to create more chaos. Maybe it's time to make a change. Maybe it's time to make a change. I also wanted to talk about, okay, the part of your shadow that's ready to be examined. Cool. This Ghost Dance card was bringing up past lives, karmic relationships. There's a lot going on right now where I feel like you're starting to realize how much control is being put on you by the relationships in your life. I'm not saying that everyone's going to break up, you know, you can handle it in your way, but I feel like we are becoming more aware of like, holy shit, this person's emotions are controlling me. This could be a karmic cycle that is coming to be cleared now, so that you can fully step into the gifts that your ancestors have created for you. This could be a moment of you finding deep courage in yourself to stand up for yourself, to honor the path that your ancestors have created for you. Does that make sense? Lisa shuddered. That was when I was on my little soapbox rant. April, wow. Lori, wow. Elisa said, ooh, this hits so hard, card 3. April, card 22, angel number. You are at a crucial point on your journey, which will help you understand the relationships and spiritual assignments that will support your growth. This is a relationship reading for your ancestors, to honor your ancestors. You don't have to repeat. Oh my gosh. I just had a huge thing for my own life. You don't have to repeat the same patterns to pay homage to what they went through. They already had that trauma. You get out of it. You don't need to repeat shit. You're not obligated to do anything for them. They did it so that you could have a better life. Learn from their mistakes. Just go accept. Maybe you don't have to be so drained all the time. Maybe you do get to be taken care of. Maybe you do get to have the perfect relationship that you desire. Just because all of your ancestors have gone through the same relationship pattern doesn't mean that you have to. My God, this is so big for me. Do you guys feel this also? Trina says, permission granted. Release and be free. Alice, step out of the cage of victim mentality and shine. Andrea, how do you say your name? We have one more deck also. We have one more card from one more deck. She said, amazing reading. Our ancestors are speaking loudly. All 3 cards reflect on each other and for personal growth and healing. Is it Anne or On? Andrea or Andrea? Alice, yes, says Christine. Kat, wow, my great-grandfather was put in prison after he was elected for president in Bolivia. I need to break out. Interesting. Yeah, he's already done the seclusion. He's already done the entrapment so that you don't have to. Thank you. Thanks, man. Allison resonates in professional relationships. Boom. Yes. Yes. This doesn't have to be romantic. And Andrea. Okay, I'll do my best. I have another regular Andrea, and I keep seeing that when I see your name. Love it. Christy loves it. Elisa with the mic drop. Lori, yes, wow. April, ask for signs from your spiritual team to confirm your path. I asked for a butterfly to land on me, and I walked the other morning and had a butterfly land on my left arm. That's amazing. Pam needed to hear this. Yes, thank you, and let them go. Christy, the women have carried much on their shoulders, and I am ready to put down the weight. Learned behaviors can be really difficult to let go of. Learned behaviors can be very difficult to let go of. But it's possible. But it's possible. Just because you've watched something and you know you don't want to repeat it, then don't repeat it. Catch yourself when you might be. Well, let me see. So the question that I have for our second deck, we're going to ask one more question from one more deck, one more card to wrap this all up. I had it typed out, how can we best utilize the astrology this week? I think I'm going to take it a little bit more. How can we best utilize the astrology to examine this part of our shadow? How can we use the astrology to examine this part of our shadow? Excuse me, I'm going to take it a little bit deeper. Feels right. We're going to use Ask Your Guides. I love this deck. Ask your guides. Feel free to send your energy into this deck. And let's ask, how can we best utilize the astrology in the upcoming week to examine this ancestral part of our shadow? Elisa, the first deck was the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So feel free to send your energy into Ask Your Guides. Connect with your ancestors. Hey, you're clearly trying to work with me right now. Help. Help. I'm listening. If you've been enjoying today's jam-packed session, if you'd like to offer an exchange of energy in the form of a donation, they're always appreciated, guys. You can donate right here on Insight Timer. Or if you want to use PayPal or Venmo, I do have links in my Insight Timer bio. I'm in the process of raising money to buy an RV and go travel and be a traveling little Venus and Scorpion Sagittarius astrologer. And that's it. I've updated my Amazon wish list. I had that on there and I was asking for gifts, and then I was all weird with where I was staying and where my mail was going and all that, but it's all updated if you want to check that out as well. And then this week, I'll be back on Friday. Skipping my Wednesday this week because I'm going to be on a flight. But then on Friday, I'll be here at 9 o'clock Central just for some tarot and oracle cards. This is the only astrology until next Wednesday. So we asked, ask your guides how to best utilize the astrology of this upcoming week and a half in order to examine this ancestral part of our shadow. And the card that came up is number 3, community, from our spiritual ancestors. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Life is magical if you look for it. The key words for this card are tribe, family, camaraderie, kinship. Your spiritual ancestors are gathering around you at this time, holding you in their light and connecting you with your spiritual family here on earth. Your soul is now seeking the kind of love and support that comes from being part of the right community, your people, so to speak. Not wanting you to feel isolated in any way, your ancestors hear your soul call and are presently guiding you toward kindred spirits. Understand and realize that you can't achieve your goals alone. Be open to support. You need the soul energizing support of your tribe. Give up any notions you have of going it alone in life and develop the insight and wisdom to recognize your limitations. After all, even Christ picked 12 associates to help him accomplish his mission on earth. Follow your ancestors' directions. It is they who encourage you to join a club, enroll in a course, or sign up for the neighborhood basketball team. You never know whom you'll meet. Your ancestors' message: open your heart and feel our presence in your life, and be open to your spiritual family here on earth. The more I engage in the communities that are doing things that I enjoy, the more I meet myself. I'm going to riff on this for a minute, and I hope it'll make sense. For those who don't know, I am in the process of exiting a relationship that was very emotionally controlling, unbeknownst to either of us. It wasn't intentional, it was just happening, and then I realized it, and I'm like, I'm out of this. Get me out of here. And the more freedom that I allow myself to expand and find my people and interact with people that are interested in the things that I am, right? Like ecstatic dance has been huge for me lately. Line dance has been huge for me lately. In the past, it was Reiki shares. In the past, it was like group-led meditations. Like whatever it is that you are interested in, go meet those people. There's a reason why you are interested in the same things, because there's a really big possibility that they are part of your soul family. They are part of your tribe who have agreed contractually, right, energetic contracts to meet up with you in this lifetime. The fact that this card comes out asking how to utilize the astrology to examine these ancestral shadows, I feel like there's real people who are not in your family, who are in your community. There's real people in your spiritual community who are breaking similar ancestral patterns. And sometimes, I mean, healing doesn't always have to be hard, crying work, right? Sometimes just by observing how another person is handling a situation that's similar to yours, you learn a lot. And you're like, oh, maybe I can try that method. Ooh, that seemed to work for them. Awesome. Look at, maybe I can try that. Ooh, this person has so easily let go of that perception of themselves. Maybe that means I can do it too. Your ancestors want you just to be in community with people who are like you. Elisa put the stars when I first pulled this card. Lisa said, told you this session was going to be special. Very much so. Very, very much so. Christine, you can't make this poop up. Mind blown. Andrea loves it. Lisa, yes, agree. Aaron, ecstatic dance for me too. Andrea, yes, man. For me, it's ecstatic dance. I think everyone can get down with ecstatic dance because it's there. You don't need any skill. You just express through moving your body. Whatever you feel like doing is what you do, and it's so primal, it's so expressive, it's so childlike, it's so playful. God, I've learned so much about myself through dancing for an hour at a time. Like, who would have thought? Alice says, siblings and longtime friends have ghosted me since my husband died. I believe my ancestors are clearing space for softer and more compassionate people on my earthly journey. I'm so sorry, Alice. It's interesting to see. It's not a death, it's a divorce in my case, but it's really interesting to see how many people had your back, how many people were on your side, your friends, and then you separate from your situation in one way or another, and it's like, oh, I guess I wasn't as important as you told me that I was. It's interesting. So why not take your power back and choose the people that you want to spend your time with? Choose the people who you feel good around through and through. It can feel lonely and isolating when you thought you had this support team and now they're gone. But it really is. You hit the nail on the head. They're clearing the space for more compassionate and softer people to show up for you. You need the space. And it doesn't mean that they were always, quote unquote, bad for you, right? It doesn't mean that the whole relationship is for nothing. Things change. And sometimes things run their course and it's time to move on, like the wind. I very much appreciate you guys being here with me today. Thank you very, very much for everyone who donated. Everyone who did donate, by the way, I do book dives. So as a thank you, I will reply to your donation with a couple sentences from one of the books that we did today. And they are pretty in alignment with whatever you need right now. So if you do send a donation, maybe intend inside an area that you need help with and see what the books have for you. This replay will be on my YouTube channel, so feel free to search my name on YouTube if you want to see the replay of this. I'm playing around with different things with my socials these days, so if you see a duplicate video, just know, because I'm streaming this on YouTube Live, and then I'm also recording to have a better quality replay for you guys. I'm just trying new things to see how I can work easier and benefit more. I also will put the pictures of the cards. I do it as a post on my YouTube channel now, so be sure to subscribe to that so you can see the words. If you want to reread the cards, this will be up so you can rewatch it. I'll be back on Friday for Tarot and Oracle to lead us into the weekend. So if you want to see how to use the energies of this weekend, join us on Friday. That'll be at 9 o'clock Central Time, so 20 minutes ago from now. Trina, April, Sandra, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your donations so kindly. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Trina. Happy journey, Kat. Thank you. I'm leaving my house on Wednesday, and I won't be back until November 12th-ish. I'm going to go house sit for a week and a half. And then I'm going to drive around the Southwest with my dog, and my companion, and a travel trailer. And we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'm going to be on Insight Timer during that week and a half, so that would be like the 26th of October through the 12th of November. I do have a session scheduled for the 13th. I do have 3 sessions next week. Okay, so I'll be with you guys next week, but then, I don't know. We'll see how the internet goes and all that stuff. I may or may not be on Insight Timer while I'm driving, so. You are making it happen. Exactly. Exactly. You guys have been hearing about my dreams of manifesting the perfect motorhome for myself so I can go drive myself around the country, and now we're just going to go try it for 2 weeks and see how it is. Thank you, Nancy. Enjoy your trip. Thanks, Christine. Safe travels. Have loads of fun and adventure. Oh, always, always. I will see you guys on Friday at 9 o'clock. Sedona is one of the stops, Kat. And we'll see. We have a rough draft of places that we want to hit, but we're both very open to just whatever happens. We'll see. I'm assuming that some mystical, magical things will appear for us. It's going to take us completely off track, and we're gonna go like the wind. All right. Thank you guys so much. I will be back on Friday. Sending love to all. Namaste. Connect with your ancestors, damn it. They really want to talk to you right now.